what are your top 3 skill sets that everyone should never ignore and continually work?
Top 3 skill sets?
And then I'm going to ask you to boil it down even more.
That they should never ignore.
Never ignore, no matter where they are, whether they're a beginner or a pro.
Okay, so I'm going to call a skill set a category.
Okay.
Is that fair? That's okay?
I got a follow-up for you.
Okay. Number 1, learn how to dominate the clinch. Almost every single attack will have some type of a flurry or a scramble that happens at clinch distance, if not the whole damn thing happening at clinch distance. Here's why. I can tell someone, hit them, throw a knee and throw an elbow. It may not be beautiful and it may not be perfect, but it's going to do damage and they're going to feel it, right?
Right.
But I can tell another person, I can tell that same person who doesn't have any training, go clinch fight with that person, and they're completely lost. So if I can teach people to dominate the clinch, and they can have a basic understanding of how strikes work, interwoven into the tapestry of that together, those 2 things are going to take you a very long way when it comes to not only self-defense, but also MMA and different forms of sport combat. So the second one goes off of the first one that I was talking about. To me, like, I prioritize training based on the mitigation of probabilities, right? So then to have a basic skill set when it comes to strikes. If you watch the highest level MMA fights, the vast majority of those fights are won with the most basic combinations that you've ever seen. They're usually straight punches, right? They're usually a knee, they're usually an elbow, really super straightforward stuff that they become very, very proficient with. So in my opinion, the higher the stakes, meaning the higher probability that we could be faced with, some type of a critical injury or death, then the simpler that things should be. So if you can master a jab cross, right? If you can master a jab cross or maybe a snap elbow or maybe an up knee, and you can master those 4 things and interweave it with the things I was talking about in the clinch, that's going to take you a long way.
That's number 2.
Yeah.
Simple, high probability striking.
Yeah.
Dominate the clinch. You have a third one?
Yeah. Learn how to fight off of walls and barriers.
Really?
Yeah. Well, watch videos when people are being attacked. Where are they happening? Right? They're happening oftentimes in confined spaces. Maybe it's a vehicle, right? Maybe it's a gas pump. Maybe it's in some small space. Learn how to use this as your asset instead of your liability. We're going to cover that in the seminar on Saturday. So for me, that would be number 3, even before the ground, because oftentimes it will go here before it goes there, okay? So if we're talking about the mitigation of probabilities, learn how to use the walls and barriers to your advantage instead of your disadvantage. Because if you don't know how to use this to your advantage, it will become your disadvantage.
Now, of those 3, you kind of alluded to a ground game, and people might go, well, Todd didn't mention grappling, Todd didn't mention learn how to fight off the ground, but I think that if you can dominate the clinch, have good striking weapons and can fight off barriers, you're not saying, I'm never going to the ground.
No, I'm not saying, not only that, people watching this should know, I'm prioritizing this, and I roll 4 days a week. Okay, so am I saying not go to the ground? But I tell you what, this is a version of the ground. The wall is a version of the ground. The better I am on the ground, the better I am against the wall. The better I am against the wall, the better I am on the ground. At the Minnesota Martial Arts Academy, where I train with Greg Nelson, they have a day, they call it Wall Wednesdays, where every round starts off of the wall. Okay, that's how important it is. And then, of course, the next thing that I would say is, all of these things are interwoven, aren't they? The principles are all interwoven.
Sure are.
They're integrative defense strategies. Then it's going to be, get to the ground, learn the basic principles for being on the ground. Learn how to get a barrier in between you and your attacker. Learn how to get your hips perpendicular to theirs. Learn how to get their head offline, right? Learn how to get to a dominant angle and dominant position. Know how to defend yourself. Know how to get back to your feet. Learn escapes. Learn how to get back to your feet, whether that be off the wall or whether that be off of the ground. All of the principles of fighting cross-apply to all of the things that I've talked about. The principles of fighting are the principles of fighting.